So I'm going to start off with the three takeaways from today. These are three things that I want you to, I would love for you to write down, to remember to use going forward. I'll repeat this at the end and you'll see these come up throughout our time together. The first is to do Zoom from inside Canvas. The Canvas integration with Zoom was a great improvement that's happened over the past few months. And I'm going to, again, demonstrate this for you. So I hope that you'll see that that's true. Number two, don't rely on Zoom for storage or for streaming. Zoom's accounts that we have through the Tech Connect program, that is a statewide program funded by the State Chancellor's Office. So Tech Connect is a program that's paying for our Zoom usage. Their contract with Zoom did not plan for a worldwide pandemic that would force thousands and thousands of California community college students and teachers to work and learn and teach from off campus and across the internet. So we had a little bit of a scare over the past year when Zoom, the company, told Tech Connect, the clients, that the recordings would start to be deleted off of their servers. So I'll talk about, of course, some places you can store your recordings. And again, we'll do some demonstration. And then finally, the third takeaway is prepare for short recordings. Students do not watch videos that are longer than 10 minutes, at most 15. Students do not watch videos that are longer than 10 minutes, at most 15. If you torture your students with a 90-minute recording of your lecture, no matter how awesome your lecture is, they will not watch it, and therefore they are less likely to learn. So I'll give you some tips for how to do that. So again, these three takeaways are there. And also, as we go through, don't forget to type your comments or questions in chat. And I do have breaks planned for hopefully answering those. Okay. So the first set of things I want to talk about are things we might think about doing before Zoom, before we use class. This has to do with setting up Zoom recordings. And a great advantage of how we have Zoom, how we access Zoom now, it is now connected to Canvas. There's an integration. The technique or the standards is called LTI, for Learning Tools Interoperability. And it's what allows our Canvas instance to communicate with Zoom. And we can manage our accounts, or manage our recordings, set up meetings and all that from inside Zoom. So the notes that I have for this, I'm going to read through these, and then again, I'll talk about these when I demonstrate them. One is that when you create a scheduled meeting inside Zoom, your Canvas course gets a calendar event created automatically, which is pretty neat. In case you don't know this, the Canvas course calendar always has any assignments with due dates. And you can also manually add meetings to your course calendar. If you're teaching a synchronous online class where you're meeting, say, every Monday, Wednesday from 9 to 10:15, no, let's make it 10:30 to 11:45 to match our time here. Let's say you're meeting every Monday, Wednesday from 10:30 to 11:45. If you create that meeting using the Zoom interface from inside Canvas, those events will appear with the Zoom link automatically in your course calendar. And then I have a note there to let you know that the passcode, if you use passcodes, that is not included in the calendar events. I've been doing some testing with this, and I discovered this is a known issue that will hopefully get fixed. So if you decide to add a passcode to your Zoom sessions, that's a good security measure, then you'll need to communicate that passcode separately to your students. I'm pretty sure you can edit the calendar event, but we'll take a look at that when we do the demonstration. Shared office hours. So the nice thing about that calendar event, of course, it's tied to a single course. If you use Zoom also for your office hours, and you'll probably have the same Zoom link for all of your classes, that's what I would do, then you'll want to create a recurring meeting with no fixed time. So that way it's the same number, the same meeting room number for all of your office hours. And then you'll need to share that manually to the calendar, at least actually in all of your classes, you'll need to share that manually. There's a new tool also called Student Connect. That is a way for you to create schedulable appointments inside Canvas where your students can then say, yes, I'm going to reserve this slot for a one-on-one meeting. That does not connect to the Canvas calendar. And there's a separate link in course navigation called Student Connect. And then finally, one last thing, a thoughtful thing you might think about is, if you haven't seen this before when you're Zoom meetings, you can create one of the sessions is to join before host, meaning that you can allow your students or your users to be in the room without you. That's a nice way to create a student lounge. And so something to think about. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into demo mode here and talk about setting up a Zoom session. So I'm going to do a new share. I see your questions and comments in the chat. Thank you so much. I will get to those. Let's see. Okay, so this is a Canvas course on the CRC instance, and it's called The Dog Days of Summer. You can see that it's pretty bare bones, but that's okay because we're focused on Zoom today. The two links here that are in the course navigation, let's see if I make that a little bit bigger, make that easier to see. Tech Connect Zoom and Student Connect. The Tech Connect Zoom replaces the Confer Zoom link. So that was the name of the link that we had before with our previous integration with Canvas. And now it's called a Tech Connect Zoom. So if I click on that, it will open up the Zoom interface inside Canvas. If you have used Zoom directly on the Zoom server, so that's zoom.us is the URL for that, and you have an account there, whether it's a personal account, whether it's an account you created through the Tech Connect or CCC Confer, through Confer Zoom, then you may be familiar with this type of interface. What this does here, this is where you can create your meetings, and you can access recordings and access reports, which we'll get to in the after section. So I'm going to go ahead and click schedule a new meeting, and I'll again talk through the options here, and I'll actually schedule it so we can see what it looks like. And then at that point, I'm going to take a break and look at your questions and comments. So the topic, the default is the course name, and I'm going to add Monday, Wednesday lecture, and I know the time. So this meeting description, I couldn't see where it shows anywhere except on this page. Students don't see it, so I don't worry about it. This is going to be Monday and Wednesday from, I said 10:30 to 11:50. So let's see if I can do that. 10:30 a.m. Let's make it an hour and a half, a recurring meeting weekly on Monday and Wednesday. And it's going to end, I can pick a date. So let's go to the end of the semester. I'll say December 15th. I don't want to do registration because that'll force my students to go through an extra step, and I don't want to put anything in the way of my students accessing the course. Passcode, I mentioned the passcode challenge, right? If I add a passcode, then how am I going to get my passcode to my students? So instead, I will go ahead and leave waiting room, which is a nice default option. What is nice about the Zoom waiting room, and I discovered that today for our session, if you got here early, you saw that the waiting room was enabled. During the meeting, I was able to disable the waiting room. When I got a button that said admit all when they were 13, and then admit all when they were 10. And then I just said, heck it, let's go ahead and turn off that waiting room. So that's something you can change, in other words, during the meeting. I don't recommend only authenticated users can join meetings, again, because that gets in the way of students accessing the material right away. Do I want the videos to be on or off by default? So I like to leave those off. I don't mind letting my students call in, that's okay. And then meeting options, there's that option I mentioned, enable join before host. In general, I don't do that, but if I'm thinking about having a student lounge, that could work. Do I want to mute my participants upon entry? Sure, why not? And do I want to record the meeting automatically? Because this is a lecture I'm planning for my synchronous online class, I'll go ahead and say yes. And I'll say in the cloud, because that way it will be able to, I can access that from any computer that I'm using. And then I'm going to hit save. And now what I'll see, if I go back to my Tech Connect Zoom link, I will see upcoming meetings, right? You see all those meetings I just scheduled. I can delete them individually if I want to. Like I just remembered that, oh yeah, I think finals actually begin on December 10th. So I'm going to delete that December 15th meeting, just this occurrence, that's fine. And then to show you that it's in the calendar, if I go to the home page, there's a link on the homepage in course called View Calendar. And inside the Canvas calendar, which always takes a long time to load, I can see my lectures coming up, right? So my students, again, could go into Zoom, they can go into Canvas, and if they go into one of these links here, they can, boom, click, and they're in the Zoom meeting. Okay.